real podcast because wrestling needs us. Brought to you by kingofamazon.com. Go to kingofamazon.com when you do your shopping for Amazon to help the King of Podcasts. Shop for Amazon at kingofamazon.com.
So I really enjoyed the Boneyard match. While that, for the quality that we got from the Boneyard match back at WrestleMania last month, I got something that was very similar, but obviously just a lot of tongue-in-cheek with Stadium Stampede, and it was great. I enjoyed both matches. I'm still going to say Boneyard match was probably the better of the two, but like I said, just for complete fun and frivolity and football gimmicks and everything else they did with it, was a hell of a match. I really enjoyed it a lot. And that's how we kind of start things off with the Wrestling is Real podcast, reviewing AEW's Double or Nothing event going on from Daly's Place and TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville, Florida tonight. They've been doing all their stuff. I really enjoyed the match tonight. It was really fun. And the whole night of action actually was really quite good. We'll go ahead and go through all of it here in the recap and talk all about it. So, again, when you're talking about how this company, AEW, really does build up their matches, even with the pandemic reeling her in, right? And they only could do so much with the first half with the first half of taping they had after Rebellion, because Rebellion did have a full crowd. But then getting out of Revolution. I get those Impact Wrestling and AEW's events confused. Revolution. Coming off of that, you really had to go and work on a lot of attributes because you didn't have that live crowd. You were having to make a lot of adjustments with no crowd to getting to where we are with Daly's Place and getting to have some kind of a semblance of wrestling like we normally have it. So even with the adjustments, I think where they got to with all the matches were pretty good. Now, we still haven't gotten the Blood and Guts match, which I believe that's going to be coming up down the line. I don't know when they're going to have that. But tonight, we get another match with the Elite and Inner Circle in this match. But I'm guessing they're going to have to wait until they get everything else set together. I don't know if Matt Hardy becomes the other person they drop into that match or what, but we'll get to that in some point anyway. But I'd like to see them make a reference to that somewhere down the line. So in the match tonight, 9 matches on the card, 8 officially on the card, and 1 pre-show. In the buy-in, Best Friends defeat Private Party in 15 minutes to be number 1 contenders for the AEW World Tag Team titles, which were not defended tonight because the Elite were wrestling in the Stadium Stampede. Now, other matches I got to say tonight. So Casino Ladder match started things off. Really, you had this pay-per-view start with some goofy, a lot of banter, a lot of plunder, and a lot of things going on extra in the background to create the matches at the front and the back of the whole night, which is actually kind of fun. I actually really did enjoy that part. So with that said, everybody had a lot of time. Look, we had a lot of time for a lot of matches going on tonight when you looked at what was going on, and especially with some of the outcomes we got tonight as well. Brian Cage enters as a last participant in the Casino Ladder match, accompanied by Taz, who's now managing Brian Cage down to the ring. You had Darby Allin, had a nice showing, took an incredible shot of his own when he took a shot what was from the top of a ladder down to another ladder. Pretty nasty fall, I must say. Orange Cassidy, the stupidity of the gimmick where he can't figure out how to get the ladder up, or he's just too lazy to get the ladder up. It was just kind of funny how they put that together. Joey Janela also getting some good moves in tonight. Scorpio Sky, Frankie Kazarian working together a little bit, and then also working on each other as they were fighting for the casino chip, which if you got the casino chip, which was hanging above the ring, you would win a future AEW World Championship match. Interesting. Now, Kip Sabian was in it. He got banged up pretty good. Penelope Ford got a little bit of a cameo into this match. And Luchasaurus looking really well. 28 minutes, I enjoyed how for what it was. I mean, it was, again, it's this AEW has this thing where they have a little bit of goofiness in their matches. And they definitely play up to the indie-rific of their characters. That's part of the things they actually will do. They're not afraid to make fun of themselves. And they're not afraid to be goofy and campy at the same time. I think that's something they kind of play off of and enjoy. And that's one of the things I actually do enjoy about AEW is that it's part of their personality. It's what they really are and what they try to represent themselves as. And tonight was a good example as we get another Double or Nothing that AEW is identifying itself and giving itself an identity with the brand. You're going to get good wrestling. You're going to get some good matches, and you're going to get a bit of variety in your matches, right? It wasn't like we got like amazing over the top, super flippity kind of high spot matches. I don't think we got a whole lot of those. So that really left for the Stadium Stampede. And then in that match, you're saying to yourself, okay, so the ladder match is a typical ladder match. I think it's a ladder match where they are kind of trying to play a little more to not be so much of a ladder match you would see in WWE, because there's a lot of plunder and a lot of like slow playing to get the ladder match rolling along and try to get somebody to go up and go after the ladder, because there's always the kind of formulaic routine that WWE likes to do with their matches like this. And this one I felt like it was a little more structured. I mean, it wasn't definitely so orchestrated, but you could definitely see how they put things together. Brian Cage picking up Darby Allin while he was on the ladder, which they had to kind of reprop a second time to get that spot off, was actually quite good. And Brian Cage, I thought actually had a decent appearance. I know he came on before. He was on I think he was not part of AEW. He was part of it was when the first All In, I believe he competed in that Casino Battle Royale. I believe that's what that was. The fact that they didn't do a Battle Royal this time, I actually like better. I actually like the idea of a ladder match much better. And the outcome of having, I would have been, Colt Cabana also very good in the match as well, also contributed. My thing is, you could have had Scorpio Sky be a possible contender to take that title shot, but with Brian Cage, that's an interesting choice to have. And immediately Brian Cage gets elevated right up to the top of the card. Not all the way to the top, but he becomes a higher upper mid-carder with a title shot. So you immediately put some credence on him in a very tough ladder match to go ahead and make him important. So you've established Brian Cage now with Taz. We're going to see where they're going to go on that. MJF defeating Jungle Boy, 17 minutes in this match. And by the way, very good match. It was one of the matches that was truly technical. And by the way, okay, you got to ask yourself this question. And I forget what the age is, I believe, but MJF is now 24. Jungle Boy, I believe, is 22 or 23. What other organization of this profile can you see these two guys of their sizes? I mean, MJF is about the size of a typical wrestler. Jungle Boy, not so much. But these guys had a profile on a major pay-per-view. Third match on the card. And they were given a lot of time. And they really did put themselves up. I'm just telling you the future of wrestling right here with these two guys. MJF is just so good in his role here. Complete jerk prick. And the way the match was put together, I mean, MJF is a very good heel. Even good with his ring work as a heel as well. And Jungle Boy, you were behind him. You were hoping he would go ahead and turn things out. And by the way, nobody being involved. This is just a straight up match. And it was enjoyable. I really liked it a lot. So MJF getting the win, I can understand. I think Jungle Boy, it's just that he is elevated from this match. I really believe that. And I think MJF helped to elevate and make Jungle Boy look very good in this match. Cody and Lance Archer, they took a lot of time to build this feud. I think this was probably the best built feud of all leading up to tonight. Because of the fact that, I mean, again, with Cody, it is storyline driven. He is going to make sure he puts himself out in a lot of major storylines. And they put a lot of major angles within the storyline to plot through to get to this point. When you had Brandy succumb to the snake and the snake put on her. To Dustin getting pummeled by Lance Archer in his match. And the constant back and forth with Jake Robertson and Arn Anderson and what they did with that. I really enjoyed the build up to the feud. And Lance Archer, I mean, he does mean he's somewhat important. And Lance Archer was just being a complete prick bastard heel. Like evil heel And that's fine. But it's going to take more time to go ahead and get more out of Lance Archer. This is just his first feud. For Cody to go and have it, basically this is a company, he started off with the Elite. For him not to go ahead and take the run of the world title a la Jeff Jarrett running TNA, I think the move here to go ahead and have Cody win the TNT Championship wasn't a bad thing. And also remember, he had only a certain number of opponents he had to take on to go and get himself to this point. And I thought, it's because of the fact it's just the way the tournament rolled out that we got to this match with Lance Archer. I still think we can have these two take each other on, and we can have some more back and forth because they're not done. 22 minutes for this match, by the way. Very, very well done. Now, because of the fact that Britt Baker got hurt and wasn't able to go and compete with Chris Statlander, Penelope Ford stepped in, 5.5 minutes. I thought it was a decent match. And I think Statlander was probably the one that I think Penelope Ford, we just haven't seen enough of. And obviously her role with Kip Sabian is also just there. So she's got room to move up. I mean, first of all, you could just tell this was actually one thing you got to be said is that we had two very good women's matches tonight. It was a short, kind of a TV match for Statlander and Ford, but I thought they did fine together. I really thought they did pretty well. But then we'll talk a minute about the world title match for the women, which was very good. Dustin Rhodes over Shawn Spears. Interesting, they just started putting this kind of a little bit of a goof match where Shawn Spears thought that Dustin Rhodes wasn't going to be able to make it. And, Dustin Rhodes comes out, quick pummeling. So Shawn Spears, again, he's just kind of just there. And I think he's starting to accept the role of a jobber. I feel like Shawn Spears is becoming a glorified jobber. I think he's fine with the role. But again, this is what's going to be said. I think you got to talk about it like this, where Shawn Spears isn't just getting buried because of the way the company is. It's not like a Vince McMahon kind of thing. It's because we know that jobbers for many years in the world of wrestling have made a career at being a jobber. We need to have people that are set to be jobbers. And I think that Shawn Spears fits the role. But he gets airtime. He gets to be out there. The fact he hasn't won any matches, I think there's something to the gimmick. So I don't have for him, maybe he doesn't feel like he has the aspirations that he needs to go and be made like a world champion. He doesn't have that kind of ego, that kind of position. For him, I think he's got everything, man. He's in pretty good shape. Come on. He's got Peyton Royce. He's got both of them are working pretty steadily in wrestling right now. I think they're doing just fine. So maybe Shawn Spears. Now, I didn't get the whole part of Tully Blanchard not being a part of this anymore and what he becomes now going forward. But obviously maybe with the pandemic issue, maybe he wasn't able to go and make travel. Something's going on where they're just not including him right now. But again, there's a number of people that were not part of this paper that could have. Even though we did see them featured, Pac and Lucha Brothers. We'll eventually see them back soon enough. I think it's just a matter of the way that everything was set up. You had certain matches being set up, prep for, so we'll wait to go and bring certain people back and obviously keep some of the lineup of the roster very fresh, which actually is a good idea. Now, one match I really enjoyed tonight, and obviously we can say this because of a story that it's not in a direct point, but I think something's got to be said about where Hikaru Shida comes from. Let's put it like that. Because one thing I got to be saying too, more than anything, is I really do like the way certain things were done with AEW and how they really handle things. Because in this match, they did point out the passing, an unfortunate tragic death of a young Japanese women's wrestler from Stardom who has competed in the States. I actually just saw a match before I got on here tonight where she competed in the Ring of Honor New Japan Pro Wrestling G1 Supercard last year in Madison Square Garden. I forgot she was in that match, but she was in an 8-man tag. Hana Kimura. Now, I don't know much about her career, but again, she was just getting started. She was pretty new into the whole point, and that's what was really more unfortunately, anything else. Now, she had been getting a lot of press because of a lot of things that she'd been doing. So let me give the story about Hana Kimura. She's a pro wrestler and was a star of the Netflix series Terrace House. Stardom Wrestling confirmed her death. Cause of death had not been confirmed, as she died at the age of 22. Started wrestling career at Wrestle 1 in 2016. Moved on. Worked with Stardom Wrestling in 2019. Then she became a cast member of the most recent season of Terrace House. In the days leading up to her death, this is from Vulture.com, Kimura posted a series of troubling tweets and pictures, including a photo of her cat with the caption, "Goodbye." She'd been subject of online bullying following an episode of Terrace House when she fought with a fellow cast member over her wrestling uniform. And there have been a lot of people in the wrestling community that have expressed grief over what happened here. And that was one of the things that was really brought up that was here. And as far as I know, they put the graphic up of Hana Kimura's death right before the women's title match against Nyla Rose and Hikaru Shida. And as I said, the match, when we're seeing all this going on, she made mention how this was cool and this was actually just a real thing that was, which Paige, WWE Superstars Paige, actually called it cool and disgusting because she has felt her own dealings with cyberbullying, which she's made a point of. Now, one thing I can tell you is that Hana Kimura actually did compete alongside Hikaru Shida in the ring. They've actually been in the ring together. And it's unfortunate where this all came about. And actually, they also did wrestle together in matches as well. So, I mean, they actually have a history with each other where they went back and actually worked with each other before. They actually worked together at Pro Wrestling ACE. So, it's a shame. Young, beautiful, talented athlete, and for whatever reason, the reasons that could have been where she decided to go and take her own life were unfortunate and shouldn't have happened. Many people were probably saying this is a suicide on most accounts because of bullying on social media. And, you know, I said it very simple. All I could say about the story was the fact that, you know, cyberbullying is unacceptable bullshit. It's all that comes down to it. And it's a shame to hear about this and see what happened to her. A lot of people have put a lot of points about talking about this. Now, I don't know if that really had anything to do with how the match came about tonight, but in a very good match where Hikaru Shida looked amazing. And really, her and Nyla Rose worked very well together. I saw it on Twitter. Some people also said a lot of good chemistry in this match. And also, no DQ, no count out. The way they set it up, Hikaru Shida had been being built up very well as the number one contender, being built very strong. I mean, going back to her match with Britt Baker, and the way that goes kind of set up, we all saw how that kind of turned out. It was very well done. All in all, great match. Now the Rose is getting much better. There's a lot of improvement from all these wrestlers. I don't know what's been going on, but they are upping the game right now. We're not getting a whole lot of that goofiness or a lot of the botchiness we've been getting. Like, we're still getting some of it, like people pointed out. But I really did enjoy the match overall. It was pretty well done. And Hikaru Shida winning over Nyla Rose. Nyla Rose had that belt for a while. And impressive win. I enjoy this. Like seeing where we get this going on. I think Nyla Rose gets a rematch probably on this, or I don't know if they're going to do that or not, but there's a lot of places they can go. Britt Baker can go after that belt, and there's a lot more of everything they can do. But I can see Britt Baker coming back and competing for that title. I think they can make her number one contender down the line, and once she comes back from her injury, which we'll find out exactly what the full extent of when she'll be returning on Dynamite Wednesday. But they did announce that she did suffer some injuries, and that's why she was kept off this show. Now, Mr. Brody Lee, it's a character that I'm still trying to get myself around. It's not completely, that whole character is not completely there for me yet. I think that's what's missing. I mean, all in all, the world title match with Jon Moxley was good. Moxley getting over was the right move. Just not into Brody Lee yet. And I want to give it some more time to see where we get this gimmick. I think because him trying to play this power role, it's not working enough where I'm not seeing him do anything to the Dark Order members like he was in the beginning. They did all the vignettes where they were showing, kind of like the Vince McMahon type of super control on people and just that real egotism. And not even just so much that, was just this, sociopathic tendencies, basically. And I just feel like with him, it's not there yet. It's not like he's not good in the ring. I think he's good in the ring, but I just think that this character they're trying to build up yet, it hasn't gotten to the point yet. I'm just trying to find myself. And it needs more time. It needs more seasoning. We need more to the gimmick. And I'm not sure what that is yet. But, I mean, Dark Order's not getting over for me, and I think Brody Lee's not necessarily there yet either. But they had a good match. I don't think it was a disappointment. And not having the world title match at the end of the show, fine. They made a co-main event, made sense. As for the Stadium Stampede match, Stadium Stampede match was hilarious. That was fun right there. They did just about everything you could think of tonight. Really good stuff. Chris Jericho just went on Twitter talking about this is one of the best things I've been in a part of in my 30 years in the wrestling business. No joke. And this way is set up was actually pretty good. Now, this was actually taped Saturday night. But when they put this together, it was just fun. It was just a lot of fun. And I must admit, the way they put it together was really, really good. Just take some highlights of what they did from the match. I'm going to just take a quick run through of some notes from CBS Sports that actually did a whole thing about this. So the Inner Circle comes out in matching football uniforms and pads. They really went all football. So for those wrestling fans that don't watch football and don't know what's going on, you probably got a little lost in the woods. But if you're a football fan like I am, I enjoyed every bit of it. I think they were just so damn goofy and campy. I enjoy it. This is okay. There are two types of matches, right? I mean, there's the style of the Final Deletion match, which we saw before. Delete Decay, same idea. Now, the cinematic match we're getting a lot of these days, and they're good. Don't get me wrong, they're very good. But I think this is one thing that's come out of this year of wrestling. And it's amplified now. With the pandemic, people started getting more into the cinematic idea. I think that's the one thing that's getting over more than anything else that's going on in wrestling right now at all. So with Stadium Stampede, they definitely put together something much like what we saw with the Final Deletion. Kind of like that. But again, they didn't go... again, there's a style where, what Impact Wrestling does and what AEW does are kind of similar. I can definitely say that. But there was so much that was put into this. Like, obviously, the Jaguars organization and Tony Khan being a part, owner of it, they took all the resources of the Jacksonville Jaguar Stadium and they put all that stuff out there. They made use of the entire stadium, which was really fun. And added some extra stuff to it. I mean, I like the casinos that they put around the ring to use this plunder. That was really cool. The poker chips and the tables and all that stuff. I'll tell you what, actually, I like all that. And then here, Jesus. Heyman Page did not come out with the Elite until we saw him on a damn horse. They did the horse gimmick again. I loved it. And again, 2 times because of how well the Sammy Guevara getting run over by a damn golf cart was going over. Was hilarious. We saw Guevara get that twice, and that was hilarious. Funny as shit. Sammy Guevara he is great in this role right now. It's just like the go-to, like just the complete, that henchman is just the one that's going to get just pummeled down every time. He's so good in this role. Sammy Guevara is so good in this role right now. It really is great. So now, you had both sides with weapons going to one side of the field to the other, and then Aubrey Edwards hits the whistle, and then they go after each other like it's a kickoff. Hilarious. Loved it. And then Guevara escapes the horse, Mac Jackson climbs a ladder to the crossbar of a goalpost, hits a moonsault. Paige gets to the stadium bar, and they're drinking. By the way, have we seen a lot of drinking on wrestling in these days? Not much. I don't think we see it on WWE television. I don't think so. But they did that. So Paige and Jake Hager do that. A lot of stuff of Paige's stuff was around the bar, which is hilarious, but very funny stuff. Santana or Ortiz drove Kenny Omega through a barricade, suspended through tables, and then threw Matt Hardy in a pool. And then the shit with Matt Hardy, I love it. Listen, I mean, I know some of you wrestling purists do not like this shit, and some of you WWE diehards hate this. Hate this. And I get it. Fine. I enjoy this shit right here. This is what I love. And this is what this is the kind of wrestling I can really enjoy. I enjoy a couple different varieties, but this I do enjoy. I laughed. I enjoyed it. Was just having a fun time with it. Just having fun. Seeing Matt Hardy come up a couple different times in the pool to submerge his Matt Hardy version 1.0 to his regular old school gimmick to back to Damascus is funny shit. I enjoyed it. And the Ortiz can't swim. Come on. It's all fun. 3 foot deep pool. Good use of what they had around the stadium. Very good use of everything they did tonight. And then Matt hits and the Northern Lights suplexes on Guevara from one side of the field to the other. You know they take that across, but it was funny. I enjoyed it. That's just good, fun, campy gimmickry. So what? Fuck it, man. Just go all out and just have fun with it. And they did have a good time with it. Then... and then there was a kick out. I think it was Jericho the Nick Jackson, and Aubrey Edwards says no, and then challenge flag by Jericho, and they go to the tent. They go to the tent to look back, and they do the replay of the. They do the replay of the pinfall. I loved it. That was funny. And then the same thing, the Northern Lights suplexes end with Matt Jackson, and then he does the Alex Wright dance and called for unsportsmanlike conduct for Success's celebration. That's hilarious shit. This is all stuff I enjoy right here. Oh, that's right. Nick getting hitting Chris Jericho with footballs. That was good. And then Jericho getting painted white with a line marker. That was funny. And then Omega to, just top it off of all this gimmick and this silliness across the board. Omega hits a massive driving one-wing angel from the stadium seats to a platform to get the pinfall. Guevara. This was an A pay-per-view. Grade A. And by the way, I looked at a lot of different polls for tonight. A lot of people, A+. People loved the Stadium Stampede match. That was fun. Hilarious. And that was one of the things I really did enjoy. Now, by the way, Disco Inferno, Glenn Gilberti, is making mentioning of certain things about how in the matches he says that, maybe, mind you, the show was entertaining, but from a booking standpoint, going toward the babyfaces have all the belts and the heels have been buried besides MJF. And Jim Ross says, buried? Really? And he's asking, and I mean, honestly, I do agree a lot with Disco Inferno, what he says. He's not too far off on certain things. And so, that, and then, see where Brody Lee didn't win. I think tonight was just fun. I don't think there was anything where I felt like people got buried. I understand some people feeling like that, but I didn't feel like that at all. I thought this was actually fine. Thought that was actually pretty good after all said and done. So all in all, everybody might have their comments on what they felt about with tonight's matches. I enjoyed everything. I really did. I'm looking right now at the poll that Soul Monster puts out. Almost 1,900 votes so far, 87.6% thumbs up. They did a good job. And by the way, I didn't even worry about Mike Tyson yawning. I think, Mike Tyson, have him come in, it didn't make much of a difference to me being a part of that. I don't think he made a big was a huge role. I think Mike Tyson was definitely shadowed by everything else that was going on. I think Stadium Stampede stole the night. I think you look at that. I think you look at Cody winning the TNT title. But I think more importantly, I think you see Hikaru Shida in a nice moment, a feel-good moment. Singer won the Women's World title. I thought, because everything was going on, was actually really good. Also, AEW not just paying tribute to Hana Kimura, but also paying tribute to Shad Gaspard. Very nice. They are classy about that. AEW did a very good job tonight. Enjoyed it. Again, you want to have something that completely gets you suspend disbelief, take your mind off of things. They did that for 3 hours, 45 minutes tonight. I enjoyed it all. So we'll leave it there. And we'll talk more about everything next week. We'll see the fallout of Double or Nothing. And we'll continue to see what WWE continues to do to try to keep things, from avoiding to go down a bit, because we're not getting a whole lot that we're excited about. I think Drew McIntyre right now at the moment is got some good momentum. I think Karrion Kross is the most interesting thing on NXT right now, period. Him and Scarlett Bordeaux, that's it. It's funny how people were talking about now where Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, by the way, these are all Ring of Honor guys that, we've seen all these guys, and NXT needs a bigger discussion, and I'll talk about that coming up with the next show. Wednesday night going to Thursday. I'll do that coming up with the next episode. We'll have some time for that. So anyway, Double or Nothing was great. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And come back. Start of this week. We'll come back Wednesday going into Thursday for another Wrestling is Real podcast, because wrestling needs us.
Thank you for listening to the Wrestling is Real podcast, brought to you by KingofAmazon.com. For more information on how to subscribe to the show, how to share the Wrestling is Real podcast to listeners like you, and check out the latest wrestling headlines, go to WrestlingIsReal.com. That's WrestlingIsReal.com.